Well, today I want to talk about the UK justice system and specifically motorcyclists within the UK justice system. There is a perception here that motorcyclists are treated harshly under the justice system in terms of speeding offences, and that actually car drivers are treated more favourably, particularly when it comes to accidents involving motorcyclists. I don't know whether or not that's true. There are examples out there that play to the perception that motorcyclists are hard done by, and examples that our criminal justice system doesn't work. And the reason I want to talk about this is there's just been a very recent example on the news. I saw it on the BBC News website. If I can find a link for it, I will pop it in the video. So this example was the recent sentencing of a lady who had pleaded guilty to causing death by careless driving. So this woman, she had killed a motorcyclist, as well as pleading guilty to causing death by careless driving. She was also done for drug driving. So that was having drugs in her system and driving a car. The report said that she had cannabis, amphetamines, and I think diazepam, something like that. So a cocktail of drugs in her body. She was completely unfit to drive through the drugs. The police report and the sentencing said that she was slumped and incoherent, etc., etc. And what had happened was there was video evidence that she had just blindly pulled out of a road without even looking and taken out a motorcyclist who flew off and hit a traffic light or a lamppost, one of the two, and had died. So within the sentencing, the judge decided to give a custodial sentence, as you would expect, a 20-month custodial sentence, but suspended for 18 months. So effectively she's escaped prison. And one of the main reasons the judge gave for suspending the sentence was because this woman had a 5-month-old daughter, and sentencing guidelines say that in most circumstances you shouldn't put someone to prison where they're looking after a young child, which I kind of get. What further transpires is that she wasn't pregnant and didn't have this child when she committed the offence and killed this motorcyclist. She fell pregnant 3 months after the offence. Now, some cynical people would say that some smart solicitor, lawyer, has told her, oh, do you know what? If you had a baby, if you had a child, young child, you won't get sent to prison for this. And so, if you're being exceedingly cynical, you could say that she got pregnant on purpose to avoid a custodial sentence. Now, I think in that particular circumstance, yes, she's got a 5-month-old child, but I'm sorry, she didn't when she committed the offence, and it's drug driving, which is just as bad as drink driving. She knew the consequences. She shouldn't have been driving behind the wheel. And if you do that and kill someone, you've got to be prepared to face the music. And I don't think this sentence should have been suspended. I think she should have gone to prison for it. She has killed someone by her lack of regard for other road users, for her selfishness, for being unfit to drive because of substances. And I want to compare and contrast that with the example of a male biker. This was about, I think he was sentenced about a year ago, January 2016, something like that. A male biker who'd been caught by Sussex police on his Honda Fireblade, prosecuted. He got observed for doing some stupid stuff, pulling wheelies and stuff like that. Police pulled him over, confiscated his helmet camera and found 150 clips or whatever of him doing stupid things on a bike. And this was used to prosecute. He pleaded guilty to dangerous driving, so the more serious offence than careless driving. So dangerous driving he pleaded guilty to. And the sentence he was given was he was sent to prison. Go to jail, go directly to jail, do not pass go. Once he's out of prison, he was then banned for 2 or 3 years and got to sit and extend a retest and all this sort of thing. Now, there is a video I think that Sussex police have posted. I will try and highlight that video on the end card at the end of this video. And I've watched it, and there's no doubt about it. The guy is riding like a complete and utter cock. Yeah, he's doing stupid speeds. I think there's one part where he pulls a wheelie in a 30-mile-an-hour residential area and hits 90, 100 miles an hour or something ridiculous. Another part where he's on dual carriageway where he tops out at like 150. I mean, excessive speed. He's swerving in and out, overtaking on solid white lines. I mean, you name it, he's doing it. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that he shouldn't have gone to prison for that, because if you do watch the video, as you'll agree, frankly, he probably gets everything he deserves, and it's that sort of riding that gives bikers a really, really bad name. But why I'm highlighting it is because here's a guy who, riding like a knob and gets sent to prison, and the Crown Prosecution Service, they're the people that decide who to prosecute and at what charge they should be prosecuted for. Crown Prosecution Service have clearly decided that this guy, they're going to go for a conviction for dangerous driving. Now, in the other scenario where this woman has been unfit to drive because of drugs and has killed a motorcyclist, the Crown Prosecution Service decide to only go for causing death by careless driving. And then on top of it, the magistrate, with the speeding guy on his fireblade, straight away, yep, you're going to prison. But this woman, because she's got a 5-month-old child, and has actually killed someone, whereas the fireblade rider, whilst I'm not condoning his riding because it is awful, but actually didn't kill anyone, could have killed someone, and it's probably very fortunate that he didn't cause an accident or harm from the way he's driving. But the facts are that he didn't kill anyone. He didn't cause any injury to himself or anyone else. But this other woman killed a motorcycle because of her being tanked up on drugs. One goes to prison, one doesn't. Is that right? Now, there will always be extenuating circumstances in any case. And I'm not a judge. I'm not a copper. I'm not a lawyer. So therefore, there are people out there that are better placed than me to make these decisions. And whilst I've presented the facts that I know, there may be facts that I don't know, that no one outside of the police, the lawyers, the judge actually knew. But on the face of it, this looks like our justice system gone mad. A man that you could argue, of course, should have been locked up for the way he was driving. We don't need that sort of riding or driving on our roads. So I haven't got an issue with necessarily giving him a prison sentence, although maybe perhaps that should have just been a hefty fine, a long disqualification and a retest, rather than prison. And someone who, through their own negligence and breaking of the law, in terms of taking drugs and then driving while under that influence, gets a suspended sentence, so actually doesn't have to go to prison. Is it any wonder that people think that motorcyclists are unfairly treated and discriminated against? And is it any wonder that you see these days that people have very little faith in our criminal justice system, in judges, in lawyers, and particularly in our police. I'm certainly not going to argue that there should be no discretion in the law. That's just madness. But where I think there has to be a change is in terms of the presumption. So let's take that woman who killed that motorcyclist. If that had been a genuine accident, and that woman had unfortunately not been paying, been attention, been distracted slightly, or genuine accident, as I said, pulled out and killed that motorcyclist, then perhaps there is the case there that yes, a suspended prison sentence because of the 5-month-old child. However, where someone has decided to get tanked up on drinks or drugs and then chosen to driven in that scenario where they're unfit, then the presumption has to be, regardless, that that person goes to prison and serves time in prison. Yeah, our criminal justice system is meant to do two things. It's meant to punish and be a deterrent, but it's also meant to rehabilitate. But it's got to do those things in equal measure. If you start to lose focus and do lots of rehabilitation but no punishment or deterrent, then it ain't working. And likewise, if you do the punishment and deterrent stuff without any rehabilitation, well, you're just going to get reoffending, which is frankly what happens a lot of the time in our criminal justice system. But in my mind, as a bystander without necessarily the full facts, knowing the facts that I do, if the bloke driving like a cock on his fireblade serves time in prison, then I'm sorry, the woman who's killed the motorcyclist and been buzzed up to her eyes on drugs, she's got to do time as well. No ifs, no buts. So I'd be interested to see what your views are on that. I suppose I should add in and say, can we have, if you are going to comment, can we have some reasoned comments rather than just offensive language and bigotism and all that sort of stuff? Because what's the point? I'm looking for sensible, reasoned comments, please. That is my plea to you. Anyway, I hope you found this subject interesting, and I shall say ta-ra and speak to you very soon. Cheerio.